So I do like watching Basketball Network, and they brought up an interesting thing. I didn't even know that Cliff Livingston was brought to Chicago just to beat up on Scottie Pippen to prepare for the Detroit Pistons. That says a lot. That's what Michael Jordan was saying. That's, I hope you don't get another migraine. Can you come back? That was underhand compliment, but also acknowledging Detroit's physicality. That's what it took to get better. Doesn't what's that say? You know. So many people would like to think that Michael Jordan just tattled and told David Stern, "Hey, they beating us up. Can you soften it up?" And you know how you always hearing about people sending video footage to the league and saying that this is too rough. No, they got physical. They bulked up. He started working out with Tim Grover. That's when Jordan started bulking up. They brought in someone to get to Scottie Pippen to say, "Hey, this is how you combat it. I gotta fight you. You gotta fight through screens and picks." When Joe Mazzulla made that ridiculous, we want to go back to fighting. No, physicality is not about fighting. It's about going through picks and screens. It's about actually doing a play without it being necessarily about fisticuffs. There's actually skills. One thing that people don't take consideration about those Pistons teams, they could actually play. A lot of people forget how skilled Isaiah Thomas was. That's why I was glad when I heard Derek Harper say that about Isaiah Thomas being like the Kyrie Irving of his era. Because a lot of people don't realize how he had handles and he could score. He did that with Kelly Drippy. I told you 40 years ago against the Denver Nuggets, that crazy game, the 184, 183, that crazy game in Denver, all those points. People forget Isaiah Thomas was actually scoring like Steph and scoring like Kyrie. It wasn't always slowed down, constipated, digested basketball with the 90s produced, ironically. Because the 80s, you actually had identity, you had physicality, and you had skills. That's why you get guys like Fat Lee was scoring crazy and Alex English, who was the leading scorer of the 80s. Because people got this illusion that it was just Jordan and maybe Dr. J, and maybe it was Kareem, and maybe it was Larry Bird, maybe it was Bernard King or Dominique Wilkins. And see, that's how diverse the NBA was in the 80s for folks who don't know. But if you sit around here listening to these ridiculous turkeys talking about the plumbers and the janitors and the paint man and the cable man and the Pac-Man installer and the arcade installer, they'll have you, thinking that, oh, it wasn't like that. You had a plethora of guys who could score. A lot of guys could score back in the day. Dan Issel could score. Adrian Dantley could score. I can go on. Bob McAdoo too. George Gervin too. But the thing is, he was brought in to toughen him up. He had to get physical because the Pistons was banging him and Rodman was banging him, and those guys was clamping on him. They was playing that brand of basketball. You know, the Celtics did it too. It was just like how it was. Got physical. You put your butt in the box and you got physical. That's a lost art, but that was the way the NBA was then. And once the Bulls got over and they took that from the Pistons. I tell you all the time, people don't want to admit the Detroit Pistons are one of the most influential teams of the NBA over the last 40 years. And you can say they arguably top five influential, the bad boys era. Because right when you get through talking about the Showtime Lakers and you talk about the Celtics runs and you talk about the Bulls and you talk about the Shaq and Kobe Laker run and the Spurs, you got to have those Pistons. And they're in there with Golden State's run. The last 40 years, they're top five or six. They're in that argument. You don't have an argument without them being mentioned. You just don't. And when you think about the way they played, the way they changed the game, but they were doing physicality and it was legal. They were considered the Raiders of basketball, but they could actually shoot. They could actually score. Thinking that they can't shoot, tell it to Vinnie Johnson could light your behind up. They light you up. It's just a different era where it was. But Livingston was brought in. They were getting the fisticuffs, and he would get into Scottie, and Scottie got tougher. Scottie did get tougher. He did. Because Jordan was like, don't be passive and soft around me, because I need you. And that's what's missing today. Someone to tell somebody, hey, I need you to step up to be the best you can be. Because that was a compliment to meet it. It wasn't like LeBron James to Anthony Davis where you scared to be almost 7 foot, and you kind of crawl into your skin like a kangaroo and go back to 5, 10, 11. You had to stand and keep your neck up. See, that's why I tell you. There's no comparison between today's game and the old school game. Old school game, them cats will put a foot in your behind for being so soft and tinker and being like an old Twinkie. Today, they cuddle you and pat you on your head. Say it's okay. You get them next time, Tiger. We'll go get a ribbon. We'll get a playing tournament or something. But that's what you did. You got mad. I didn't. I grew up on an era where cats were mad, came back the next year and let it be known they came back to beat you. You know, the last time I saw it, I thought Golden State did that when they got Durant because they took that loss to Cleveland person because they blew that. But the last person I heard verbatim say, "Hey, we're gonna come back," was Tim Duncan. When they lost to Miami, he said 2014 we come back. And I never heard him speak too much. That's what old school used to do. So you would toughen up. You bring somebody in. Because Cliff Livingston was a pit bull. He smiled a lot when he was with Chicago, but he brought the wood. That's what they brought him for. That was a smart tactic. Got to get tough, physical and mental. You know. So that's a lost art, but that was, you know, that was brought in to make Scottie become what Scottie became. Unleash the dragon. So, and he might have resented, but his defense was tough. He face guarded. He did what he's supposed to do, and there was no more backing down when it was big time. Because once they beat the Pistons, and it was onward trajectory. So, anyway, please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another shitter if you like. Hit that membership. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Stay true. Stay real. Stay focused. Stay woke. I'm out one time. Peace.